This is Valley News Live at 5.
We begin with breaking news tonight. Nearly 24 hours after Valley News Live first broke to you who the two people were killed in a Wadena County shootout with police, the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension has now confirmed they are 42-year-old David Savella and 36-year-old Shannon Savella, brothers, both of Sebeka, Minnesota. The BCA is also identifying tonight that Deputy Troy Mayer and Officer Jason Warm are the two officers involved in the shooting. The BCA says Deputy Troy Mayer tried pulling over David Savella for speeding Saturday night near the intersection of 205th Avenue and 280th Avenue in North Germany Township. They say when Savella did not stop, a short pursuit ensued. The BCA says David would not identify himself and refused commands to get out of his vehicle. So a struggle happened to get David out of the vehicle. Shortly after, David's brother Shannon arrived on scene and started shooting, according to police, hitting both Deputy Mayer and Officer Warm. After David stood up, the BCA says he pointed his gun at the officers and Officer Worm fired his gun, hitting David. The BCA says Shannon then pointed his gun at Officer Worm. Worm fired and also hit Shannon. David died on the scene. Shannon later died in an area hospital. Now on to more breaking news. President Joe Biden says that the U.S. expects to take delivery of enough coronavirus vaccines for all adult Americans by the end of May. Biden's administration says it's 2 months earlier than anticipated. Drug maker Merck and Company will help produce rival Johnson & Johnson's newly approved shot. We'll have more COVID coverage in just a few minutes. New for you now at 5, we know the name of the man behind yesterday's crash that led to a shooting and armed robbery. Officers first responded to the crash at 17th Avenue and 45th Street South just after 1 a.m. As they were investigating, someone reported gunshots on East Gateway Circle South. Another man said his vehicle was stolen in an armed robbery. Officers learned that all 3 incidents are related. Damon Peterson was taken to a local hospital and then the Cass County Jail and booked for the charges of terrorizing and criminal conspiracy. Police say Peterson and the victim knew each other. Authorities are releasing more information after a hit-and-run accident that landed a teenager in jail and a woman in the hospital. It happened last Wednesday on I-94 near Fergus Falls. One vehicle crashed on the interstate and the driver got out to check the damage. While she was doing that, another car hit her, smashed into a tow truck and a third vehicle. The driver, a 15-year-old boy, and passenger, 18-year-old Amani Ashford, tried to run but were eventually caught. Authorities say 28-year-old Hillary Langfeld is the woman who was injured. How about this sunshine and warmer weather in March? We've got more of that coming our way, but there is a small bump along the way. Let's check in with Nathan for this evening's forecast. Hey, Nathan.
Hey, Andrea. Yeah, I want to emphasize a small bump in the road for our temperatures for this week, which is the good news for those folks enjoying these temperatures. Right now in Fargo, we are 36 degrees warmer than we were at this time yesterday. For our friends to the south in Watertown, 35 degrees warmer. Devil's Lake is 24 degrees warmer. We are starting to see some cooler air moving into the northern valley as a cool front is making its way through, and that is going to be the said little bump in the road for this evening. There's those current temperatures in the upper 30s in Langdon, Halleck, and Roseau. Still holding on to 48 in Fargo, 50 in Jamestown, 62. That's a 6 in front of that number there for our friends in Sisseton. Here's the satellite and radar. Crystal clear, just as you saw on our Luther Family Ford Skycam a few moments ago. Sunshine abundant for this evening, but I am watching a cool front up into north in Manitoba. You can see some clouds associated with that moving into Winnipeg at this hour. So that's the little bump in the road that we are talking about. Of course, Andrea will talk about what that little bump means for us for the next couple of days, but also talk about how quiet things are going to be after this little bump. So that's good news, and we'll talk about all that coming up.
All right. Thanks, Nathan. A bridge in Bemidji is moderately damaged after a fire. It happened yesterday afternoon under the BNSF bridge located across the Mississippi River between Lake Irving and Lake Bemidji. The cause is still under investigation, but officials say it doesn't appear suspicious. 13 people are dead after an SUV believed to be carrying 25 passengers collided with a gravel truck near the U.S.-Mexico border in California. NBC's Jennifer Bjorklund is following the story from Los Angeles.
Just confirming that you got the message. We need as many ambulances as you can hand right now. a deadly impact, an SUV and a gravel truck, and seemingly impossible numbers coming from the crash scene in the rural southeastern corner of California near the U.S.-Mexico border.
There were 25 occupants in the Ford Expedition, including the driver. Unfortunately, 12 of the occupants, including the driver, succumbed to the injuries on scene.
The driver of the tractor trailer, also transported, suffering moderate injuries. At the hospital, a scramble to save lives amid the news that so many were lost.
3 of them were flown out from the scene. 7 patients transported to El Centro Regional Medical Center, where unfortunately one of those has died since arrival.
It's unfortunate that that number of people were put into that vehicle because there's not enough safety restraints to safely keep those people within the vehicle. There are numerous people that were ejected onto the roadway as a result of this collision.
U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents responded but say they are not involved in the investigation. An investigation the California Highway Patrol says is well underway. Jennifer Bjorklund, NBC News, Los Angeles.
FBI Director Christopher Wray is shedding new light on the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol. Testifying before the Senate Judiciary Committee today, Wray faced tough questions about the FBI's handling of intelligence information leading up to the attack. This is the first time Wray has spoken publicly about the status of the investigation. Wray told lawmakers that a field report indicated the prospect for violence was raw and unverified, but that it was quickly shared with Capitol Police and other agencies in the hours before January 6th.
That attack, that siege, was criminal behavior, plain and simple, and it's behavior that we, the FBI, view as domestic terrorism. It's got no place in our democracy, and tolerating it would make a mockery of our nation's rule of law.
Officials say over half the people charged with taking part in the January 6th siege of the U.S. Capitol were not connected to extremist groups or to one another. The $1.9 trillion COVID rescue bill moves to the Senate this week after passing the House, and partisan markers are already being laid. The bill passed the Democratic majority House with no GOP votes, and Senate Republicans appear equally sour on the package. They say it's full of unrelated progressive spending items with special criticism for $350 billion in direct aid to states and cities. But Democratic leader Chuck Schumer echoed President Biden, arguing it's critical for a big legislative package to tackle the historic health and economic damage brought on by the pandemic.
But the job is not complete. The American Rescue Plan is designed to finish the job, to patch up the holes in our economy and lay a foundation for recovery, to keep struggling businesses, families, and workers afloat until brighter days appear on the horizon, to send our children back to school as quickly and safely as possible, and to defeat this evil disease once and for all.
Democrats will use a legislative procedure to pass the Senate bill with a bare majority vote if needed. Sanford Health says it's able to provide more vaccination opportunities now that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine has been approved. This week alone, Sanford is seeing its biggest distribution yet, an allotment close to 3,000. Sanford says the vaccine may have a 72% efficacy rate, but the vaccine should be treated with importance, like Pfizer and Moderna.
We get a proportional allotment. I think this could be close to an additional 25 or 30 vaccines to the state of North Dakota by the end of March that we weren't counting on, just last week.
Sanford says the best way to help patients is for healthcare providers to keep vaccines in their own state and not share. The state of Minnesota is expecting to get 45,000 doses of the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine this week. The governor believes those vaccinations should be in arms between Friday and Monday. It's not clear yet how many doses of the vaccine will be headed to North Dakota. Clay County Public Health is hosting a vaccine clinic tomorrow in Moorhead. The event is for Clay County residents over 65 only. It will take place at the Yum Comst Center from 1 to 5 p.m. You can register over the phone at the number on your screen, and you can also register online. Just head over to valleynewslive.com and click on this story. And you can stay up to date with the latest COVID vaccine-related information by checking out our VNL vaccine tracker. You can visit our website or simply open your phone camera and point it at the QR code on your screen, then tap the link that pops up. The governors of Texas and Mississippi both announced that they'll be lifting their state's mask mandates and rolling back many of their COVID-19 health mandates. This comes just one day after the CDC warned against complacency in the face of emerging coronavirus variants. Shortly after the announcement in Texas, Governor Tate Reeves announced that he would end Mississippi's mask mandate on Wednesday. There's an historic labor showdown taking place in Alabama involving the world's largest online retailer, and it's drawing the attention of the White House. Thousands of workers at an Amazon warehouse outside of Birmingham are voting on whether to form the company's first labor union in the U.S. It's a historic challenge to the internet giant at a time when Amazon is hiring tens of thousands of people every month. Amazon is pushing employees to vote no, but in a video message, President Biden is urging management to back off and let the workers decide. Nancy Cordes is at the White House with more.
The choice to join a union is up to the workers, full stop.
In the 2-minute video, there was only one state President Biden mentioned by name.
Workers in Alabama and all across America are voting on whether to organize a union in their workplace.
Bessemer, Alabama is home to an Amazon warehouse where about 6,000 employees are voting right now on whether to form the internet giant's first union in the U.S. It's a bitter battle.
Amazon doesn't treat their employees like people. We're treated like we're robots.
Warehouse employees like Jennifer Bates constantly get texts from Amazon warning that union dues could leave them with less money than they already have. Anti-union flyers are even posted inside warehouse bathroom stalls.
There should be no intimidation, no coercion, no threats, no anti-union propaganda.
Amazon didn't respond to our request for comment, but in a previous statement to Reuters, it said, "We don't believe the union represents the majority of our employees' views. Our employees chose to work at Amazon because we offer some of the best jobs available." But more than 2,000 workers indicated that they were interested in joining a union, which is what triggered this vote. The White House insists the president was simply showing support for all unions.
We don't comment on specific cases.
But union officials say his message was clear.
For the workers at the warehouse in Alabama, there was no question that President Biden was speaking to them.
Stuart Applebaum is the president of the Retail, Wholesale, and Department Store Union.
The importance of the video is that it's telling workers that no matter how much your employer is trying to intimidate you, no matter how powerful your employer may be, the President of the United States has your back.
Presidents traditionally take pains not to wade into union disputes, but Mr. Biden campaigned on a very clear platform.
I made it clear to the corporate leaders. I said, I want you to know I'm a union guy.
One important note on the timing of all this. This is the week where the president's proposed minimum wage hike is falling apart in Congress, at least for now. And he's facing some frustration from progressives who wanted him to fight harder. So that may be part of the reason that he chose to come out and show solidarity with American workers to remind them he's on their side. Nancy Cordes, CBS News, the White House.
The Bison are back on the road this weekend, traveling to Springfield, Missouri to take on Missouri State for their third game of the spring season. The pregame show starts at 1 and kickoff is set for 2 o'clock. You can catch all the action on KVLY. A toddler survived a terrifying fall from a high-rise balcony. The scene was caught on video, and we need to warn you, it's disturbing. It happened in Vietnam. Someone living in a nearby building shot the video. The little girl was seen clinging to a balcony on the 12th floor of an apartment building. It's not clear how she wound up dangling high above the street. The girl, said to be 3 years old, managed to hold on for a time and then fell. A driver managed to reach out and grab the toddler with one hand before she hit the street. Officials say the girl suffered a hip fracture. Still to come, Walmart makes another move to better compete with Amazon.
And take a look at this Luther Family Ford Skycam. Some melting, plenty of sunshine, and yeah, temperatures will be falling though, with those winds shifting to more of a northerly direction, eventually falling into the 20s in Fargo. also cooling a little bit faster in Grand Forks as a cool front makes its way through overnight tonight. We'll talk about what that means for our forecast for our Wednesday coming up after the break.